Hello everyone, how's it going? Hello. I think it might be a bit loud. Let's turn that down a bit. At those, that little green bar. There we go. Oh dear. How's it all going? How are we doing? Let me sort that out so I can actually see. Let me know about the audio. I had some problems last time, but I think it's okay now. Thanks for dropping by, everyone. Appreciate it. Appreciate it. Super Chunk 420. How's it going, man? Compal, thank you. Sheriff, hello, 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 hello. A midweek one. A midweek one. Unusual. I was bored, not gonna lie. I was fed up. I don't know what to do. Watched plenty of stuff already, and I was like, let's go on and see if anyone fancies a chat. I haven't got an agenda, really. Never do. Just do this for fun. So I'm more than happy to field questions, or I can just talk about stuff that is interesting me at the moment. Either way, absolutely fine. Hi Hamza, how's it going, mate? I have some tea, which I'm going to be drinking. Lovely. Great. Much rather have coffee, but probably not the best idea at 9:45. I won't sleep. So yeah, it's oh, have I mistyped my title? No one's going to come by, it doesn't really matter. What did I type wrong? Oh yeah, I can edit that. All good. Beautiful tea. Yeah, it's green tea and lemon. Green and lemon. Oh god, the lemon makes it horrible. Right. So, this I could talk about a lifelong learner. Yeah, I wonder what that is. There must be something, because obviously I didn't make a mistake. It sounds like a job from, like, I don't know, the old days. Like, I don't know, something you might see in Game of Thrones or something. Sounds like someone that works with the ground or something. Why web scraping? I don't know. That is the $1 million question. I enjoy it. I like it. I like the figuring stuff out. Yeah. I like data stuff. Always feel like there's something else to learn. It always is. You never stop. And Super Chat, there's no stupid questions. So, I'm happy to field all questions. It's always stuff to learn. I'm constantly learning. Everyone is, even the best developers, always learning. Get used to it, is what I can say. I like seeing things automated. Yeah. I automate as much. I'll spend half a day working on something to automate something that I could have done in 5 minutes. And I'll just think ahead and I'll be like, this is going to come up again. I'm going to automate it now. And I'm just going to, over the course of the next few months, my 5 minutes are all going to come back to me. Sometimes they don't. So be a bit more picky than I am. Freelancing. Yeah, I can't hear myself properly. Hang on. My monitoring isn't not working that well. Oh, well, it doesn't matter. Anytime you do freelancing. Oh, actually, hang on. I've read your question slightly wrong. If you're trying to win jobs, I wouldn't bother about doing anything beforehand, because you're either going to get it or you're not. And most of the time, your proposal's just not even going to be looked at. It's more about if you're first, essentially. If you're first in there, make sure you've got some kind of a portfolio that normal people can look at. It doesn't have to be flashy. I don't mean like flashy websites and stuff. Just something where someone can click and immediately see that you've done stuff that relates to what they already want. Yeah, that's it really. You don't need a massive flashy portfolio. In fact, I don't like flashy portfolios. I'd rather literally just have a static HTML page that says who I am, what I do in like the shortest way possible. And I don't have this because I keep meaning to do that. This is what I'm going to do. Change it so it's just, this is who I am, short what I do. Here's a list of projects that I've done with, you can click on this and see the code, or you can click on this and see it. That's it basically. Hey Christoph, you're right on time this time, mate. Right on time. There you go. Yeah, so freelancing is a funny old thing. I do some. Although my perspective on it has changed a little bit, just because of I'm finding that I'm much better at actually doing the work and solving the problems. That's what I like, rather than managing the other side of it. But, you know, one comes with the other. You have to put yourself in uncomfortable situations to learn, I suppose. Yeah. For a change, yeah. Don't try and pigeonhole yourself though. If you're trying to become a freelancer full time, make sure you can do lots of things. Because I've seen it from both sides, both from working for a company that's hiring freelancers and having clients, that is so. Anything can change really quickly, and not all cases, obviously, but quite often I find, or I feel like, that if you agree to work for someone to do a job, other things that come up, you're their developer, so they'll just come to you and say, oh, actually, can you do this on here, can you do that on here? And being able to do a lot of different things is will benefit you that way. When scraping similar sites don't get output a consistent format. When you say consistent format, you mean if it's different on the site. So this is what I tend to do. Okay, so I'll have a central place where I want to store all of my data, my database. You can either build yourself an API to do that if you want it web-based, or you can just have something local. But whatever you do is you want to take the data from where you've scraped it and then turn it into where you want it to be before it goes into where you store it all. So it's basically ETL, which is extract, transform, and load. Don't forget the transform part. So things, and I'm going to do a video on this coming out soon, is on a JSON serializing in Python using Marshmallow. So basically you can take the data and you can turn it into a Python object and back again. That's a very simplified version of saying you've got validation and everything in there. That's what I would do. So I'd have one central point, assuming we're talking about one like project type thing. Obviously, if you've got lots of different projects, I would have different databases for all of them, so it just doesn't get really confusing. And then turn that data, take the data from the source and then turn it into the format that you want it to be stored in. So then your database is full of good data that you can then do whatever it is that you need to do with, like it's for your company, it's for your client, or it's your business. Your data that you've taken, you've sourced, you've cleaned, you've done everything, that's your business. That's kind of what I think. What's the best way to create a website with updatable scrape data? Pretty much what I just said as well, except your central source is your website. So what you want to do is you want to build your website, and Django is great for this because it's super easy to get set up and get going. And when you create a Django site, it's got so much stuff all done for you, right? So like you've got the admin panel that comes with it, all of that stuff is all done, which is why I like Django a lot. Don't necessarily like writing in Django because I'm going to answer your question and I'm going to go off on a tangent. So create your central site, then have like basically pipelines into your website, which would probably be your API, right? And then I would write separate code, separate scrapers and everything to then push that into your Django site. That way, if something goes wrong, you can add, delete, update your scraping scripts as necessary without messing with your main central source, your central load of data, which is your Django site. That's what I would do. You can have everything within the Django site. So you could have it so like it runs the jobs to then update the data. But I think that for me, it's two different things. So your Django site is for holding and displaying your data and letting your users work with it if you're going to have users or just you. And then your scrapers that give it that data are completely separate, so don't muddy the waters. Scraping is challenging because and it's like it's an arms race essentially, which I don't like it, but what can you do? What tangent was I going to go off on? Superchunk, that tangent, that exact one. Yeah, so I feel like, first of all, if you're trying to learn, honestly, and this is easy to say, everything, and as much as you can, because if you just learn one thing, you're going to miss out on the experiences. I'm talking framework, sorry. So if you just learn one, you become really good at it, which is absolutely fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But if you don't see all the other ones, you miss out on learning about how they handle things, what they do well, what they don't do well, how it works for you as a developer. So I think that, first of all, if you're actually trying to build something, use whichever one you know already. Don't try and learn and build. It's just, you're going to have so many problems. So use whatever you know. And if your sole goal is to learn, just build basic sites in different frameworks and then decide which bits of one that you like and understand what they do. So you'll see, this is how this one does this. This is how this one does this. Why can't this one do this? What are you supposed to do here? And you'll just generally get how you feel so you can then make a good decision. Personally, if I was going to build anything now properly, it would be Django, because for all the reasons like I said. If I was going to make a hobby project, it would be Flask. If I was going to do a super hobby learning project, I'd use Go. Completely different language, because I'm basically doing the same thing. I'm just learning how a different language and a different ecosystem does that thing. That's what I would do. Oh, Legion, how's it going, mate? Thanks for joining us. Thanks for joining us, everyone. It's nice to see some names coming back. Appreciate that. There you go. You can have this as well. Yeah, you mentioned Fast API. Not sure how I feel about that one totally. It's something to do with, I don't know. Go is dangerous. I would, yeah, exactly. It makes you write everything, and this doesn't just apply to Go. This applies to even maybe less so Flask, but all of those sorts of frameworks. It makes you write all of those pieces that things like Django and Rails give you, but it makes you write them for yourself. This is good in the way that you learn how they work, you learn what you need for your project, and you also learn that if it's for a production environment or anything, I suppose anything, you get to the point where if something doesn't work how you want it to anymore, you wrote that code, so you can go back to it and you can then say, actually, you know what, this is the bit that I don't want, this is it. Whereas if you use a plugin, like I say plugin, you understand what I mean, where Django does auth for you, all that sort of stuff. If you use that, the benefit is you don't have to write it. Someone who's probably better at it, or almost certainly better at this, has written it for you. It's been audited, generally, if you use Django, by a whole group of people. And loads of people are using it, so it's probably going to be safe. So if you write your own auth system and make a mess of it, and you actually, on a web application you're going to use, you got problems. If you use Django's auth system, generally you're not going to have problems because everything's been covered already, and it's going to be maintained and updated. So that's where you're kind of at. I would definitely recommend, if you want to build applications and APIs, you do both. You understand what parts do what parts do this, and that you learn how to build it yourself, and so you can then go ahead and use other people's code if you need to, if you want to. Am I going to make any more Django videos? I'd love to, yeah. I would love to. I'm trying to keep my videos to like more niche down topics around Python and web. So Django would be the case, but I'm not sure how well they'll be picked up. I did the REST framework one because I liked working with it. I wanted to cover it. I did okay. So I might do. The best Django documentation, other than the best Django learning resources, there's a good one on, it's the Mozilla tutorial. Mozilla, what do they call it? MDN? Django one. Hang on, I'm just looking it up. Yeah, developer.mozilla.org. There's a good Django one there. Or if you want to buy a book, it's called, one of the best ones I think is 2 Scoops of Django. Or Django, there's 2, and then there's Django for beginners and Django for professionals, if you wanted to pay for a resource. I like learning from books and videos. Sometimes books is better because you can go at your own pace. Sometimes videos is better because you want to actually see it being written, because in books you sometimes just get an explanation and then a chunk of code and you're like, okay, what's this? So depending where you're at. Hello all the new people that are joining. Thank you. Theodore, good evening. Nilesh, hello mate. And Ulysses, I'm butchering people's names. Doesn't matter. Abdul Majid, thanks for watching my videos. I'm really pleased. That's the best thing when people say to me, hey, I watched your video and it helped me with this. That's all I need, man. That's brilliant. Cloudflare. I'm working on a video about Cloudflare. There's a Python package called Cloud Scraper, which is very simple to use. So if you want to check it out, it's just called Cloud Scraper on PyPI. But I'm trying to. So basically, the usual Cloudflare check, I believe, is a. Hang on, sorry, this is just annoying me. I believe it's like a JavaScript browser check. So it runs JavaScript code that obviously JavaScript only runs in your browser, solves a little problem and then reports back. So you need to be able to solve that. And I'm looking at how it's done and all that sort of stuff. So I want to be able to present you guys with this is what's going on. This is what's happening. Rather than just use Cloud Scraper on these websites, it works. So that's crap. No one wants that. Is it okay to use Flask as a backend framework? Yep. Flask is an excellent backend framework. Python is a great backend language. Flask, Fast API, Django REST framework, any of them, all good. If you're learning Flask, Miguel Grimberg, he's the best. And if you want a backend framework just to use to learn React, he's got a microblog API that you can just use, you can just run. Did I pronounced it right. I think you might just be nice, but I appreciate that. From Morocco, nice. Khalil, hello mate. Oh, you got some projects from Mike? Hey, see, some people, yeah, that's brilliant. That's great as well. That's great. And Ruben, same. Thank you. I appreciate it. I started this to be accountable for me learning, and then it kind of turned into, hey, I've done all this stuff. Maybe other people would benefit from learning it from me in the way that I went through it. So, and I kind of just keep that theme. So, obviously not everything, but if something random pops up on my channel, it's probably because I learned it not that long ago, and I want to, show you guys it. There's a lot of things that I've been through and I learned for various projects or whatever, and I've not really thought anything more of it. And then you go back to it and you're like, I actually had a load of questions when I went through this the first time. So I try and answer those questions when I make the videos. Oh, you think it has to run a little WASM binary? Okay. Yeah, see, I'd like to. I'm doing some research and looking into it at the moment. So, but it definitely does something that only your browser can answer. So you need to resolve it or something, and then go back to. Anyway, yeah. That was cold, lovely. Sweet. What's the most enjoyable API I've worked with? What, as in, like, what do you mean? What that I've made, or my favorite framework to build an API in? Honestly, I just use Django REST framework. Although I wouldn't say it's my favorite, I just enjoy it. It's just it's got everything, so I don't have to worry too hard. I don't have to worry. One I'm looking at the moment, the one that I'm looking at the moment is one that not many people use. Obviously, people use Flask for backends, which is very common. But there's a Flask package, add-on, plugin called Flask RESTful to extract data from. The one that I use the most, I suppose, is Shopify one. I don't know. There's some curious things. I use more in my day-to-day. I don't want to talk about, but I'm not saying I could do a better job, because obviously if I could, then I would be working for these people making these things, right? So take this with a pinch of salt. But there's some that I just find really curious decisions. I'm like, I just want this piece of information, and I have to make like 5 calls just to push it all together. It just seems odd. Anyway, Shopify's a bit like that as well. And they try and push GraphQL on you. Well, they don't try, but the option of GraphQL's there, which I don't know an awful lot about. So yeah. Ones I use. There's quite a few. There's loads of cool ones I just dip in and out of, to be honest. Vikral, hello mate. Oh, you've learned. I see. There's another one. That's 2 people. So you're either I'm doing a really good job or you're all lying. So, but I'm going to take it with the former. So that's great, man. I'm pleased that you've got some jobs because of what I've shown you guys. That's great. Oh, Crazy Fanatic Man's here. Hello mate. How's it going? There you go. One of these as well. Yeah. Thanks for dropping by, mate. Vincent. Old Vinny Chase. I hope that's a reference and not your name, otherwise, well, anyway. Learned a lot, thanks man, I appreciate it. It's great, I'm pleased. It's going to be a good idea to create a Discord server. Yeah, it would be a good idea if I created a Discord server, wouldn't it? Spam, 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 spam. Cool name. Very kind, mate, very kind. Well, you are smarter because you learned something new and you're doing something with it. So there you go. You are smarter. Recently scraped GraphQL. 5 to 8 different. Get all the information. Yeah, I don't know a lot about GraphQL. As in, I don't really know how to use it properly. So just a rest man, I suppose. Otaku, hello mate. Data classes. Is there a way to change the variable names? Well, that's interesting. There must be. I didn't look into that, actually. I didn't look into that. I'm sure there is. To create a UI to control the program. Oof. Depends what you mean when you. What sort of an UI do they want? Because Python and UIs, I don't know, it's not something I've ever really fancied. And if you go ahead and if you go make a like a web front end to it, you're going to have to learn about what's it called? Celery to manage the jobs, all that sort of stuff. I don't know. I don't do that. I'm going to be honest, I don't do that. I just run them as jobs, and then like the data comes out the other end. I have used Celery to like keep a track of the jobs, I suppose, but I wouldn't, not to like actually go ahead and say run this now, do this. Jack dude, thank you very much. I'm not planning on stopping anytime soon videos. Can't guarantee there'll always be winners. Why is it? Oh, hang on. GraphQL is fantastic, but yeah, no, I understand. Yeah, I get it. Yeah. Why is it recommended to use try and accept? That's just the way Python handles errors. So you have to use. I don't particularly like that approach, but it's just a way of doing it. What I'm looking at is, or what I've been doing a bit more of recently, is building my own. So instead of saying like, if you've watched any of my videos where I say like, let's just say the name of this thing is, this is our HTML, this is the selector of whatever we're using. What I've been doing is I've been building a function instead that takes in the HTML source code or the soup or whatever it is that we're using. You give it the selector, and then it will either return the data that you're after, or it will return none. So that keeps the try and accept in that function. So when you reuse it, it doesn't look like you don't get a whole load of stuff in your code. So it's a bit neater to look at. You got this on recommended? I suppose I have got almost the most amount of concurrent viewers I've ever got. Well, you know, we're talking about web scraping, which is pulling data from a website and then doing something with it. But it's just I've just dropped one viewer, so I can assume that you've left. That's all right. It's not for everyone. I'm only joking. Thanks for clicking though. PyQC5. Yeah, I suppose. Yeah. I don't know. Something about desktop apps which just does not excite me at all. So I've never done it. Literally not interested. But I guess that's an option, isn't it? Is there any possibility I can find API and developer tool? Yes. Yeah. So just go to the network tab, start clicking around, and look at all the requests that's being made, and you'll come across. You just keep clicking, and you'll find one that's got all the data and the JSON in the response. What is Celery? Celery is a job task manager for Python. You can either use Redis as a broker or RabbitMQ. Codfather, hello mate. Nice to see you. One of the original followers of my channel. Thanks for dropping by, mate. FS, hello mate. Hello. Start calling yourself the F12 King. Yeah, I guess something like that. Hello, Yagis. Hello, mate. Thanks for dropping by. Appreciate it. That's very kind of you, Louise. I do my best, mate. I try to make everything interesting and educational and useful in some way. Doesn't always work. They're not all winners, but some of them are. Yo, SV, thank you very much, man. I must check. If it was earlier today, I think I already sent you a message. I think I sent you a message. If I didn't, it'll come up on my thing real soon. But I really appreciate that, man. I really appreciate it. Thank you very much. Hello from Pakistan. Hello. Is every website scrapable? Yeah. Not worth the effort, a lot of them. What positions can I work in companies? I tend to look at it as more of like a side skill that exposes you to, a lot of different stuff that's really useful to learn about. Yep. Gotcha. Just gonna make sure. Yeah. That's right. I appreciate that, by the way. SV, that's really kind of you, man. Thank you. Yeah, crazy fanatic, man. I didn't realize I could actually do that until I saw someone else do it. So yeah, I made a few people mods just in case. I know that it could get pretty rowdy in here. I need some people to keep the peace. Don't let the power go to your head, though, mate. I'm joking. Greetings from Sao Paulo, Brazil. Hello. I love the international reach. I love it. It's fantastic. Thank you for answering my question. I do my best. Just what team do I support? Which sport? If it's football, i.e. soccer, I support Arsenal. Have done ever since I was a little boy when my friend took me to Highbury. What does my day job consist of? No, I basically I work for a company that runs websites for loads of people. So I use Python. Automation was the main reason, the main thing I started with. And then, you know, I wanted to automate stuff. Then I wanted to get some data from the sites we were looking after. Then API stuff. And that's just kind of how it went. Josh, still unable to. It could be that the site you're trying to do has quite advanced protection, which just makes it really hard. Not impossible, but generally quite hard. Do you watch F1? Yeah. Well, more so last season than this season, actually. I suppose just because I'm British, I've been following either Lando Norris or George Russell. Although McLaren's been crap this year, Mercedes have been out. What I really wanted was Ferrari, Mercedes, Red Bull to be fighting for the win each race consistently, but we didn't get that. Gunners top 4 this year has to be. Absolutely has to be. Has to be. Yo, Fabio. Thanks for watching the videos, mate. I appreciate it. What do you recommend to clean or sanitize HTML? Keep a basic HTML structure so I can use it later. Well, I'm not entirely sure what you mean. Thoughts on All or Nothing? Do you know what? I didn't watch it. I don't know. I don't know if I don't know. I don't know how I felt about it. Things like that. Do you know what? Things like that. Although there's interesting things in there, and like one of my mates is a massive Arsenal fan, probably much more so than I am. So he watched it and he kind of relayed back some information to me. But you know, you kind of know what happens. So same with the F1 thing, Drive to Survive. It's like, you know what happens. It's just gonna be, and it's going to be over dramatized. So I don't know, less interesting. I prefer just the sport itself, to be honest. I'm not sure what you meant by sanitizing the HTML so you can keep it. Sorry, man, I don't really know what you mean by that. Yeah, that's me. I kind of touched on that. I work for a company that runs loads of websites and stuff for people. And I'm basically the tech guy, I guess. I'm not a developer, although I use code every day, I suppose. Obviously, I could be a rockstar dev if I wanted to be. I like solving problems with it. So, is Scrapy my favorite? I like to use lots of different ones, just because like once you understand all of the different. Once you basically understand what you're trying to do kind of at the core level, so like it's less formulaic, so I kind of just mix and match whatever I feel like. Like I stopped using Beautiful Soup for years, and then one day I was like, I'll just use it again. Doesn't make a difference to me. Scrapy is objectively the best if you want to actually have a solid, stable project to do the scraping. But you know, it's more effort to get up and running. It uses a lot more code because obviously there's a lot more features. So you have to decide what it is you're trying to do. But if you want to have something that you're going to repeat over and over and over again, and you don't want to write a lot of the stuff yourself, like retries and stuff like that, then it's definitely worth it. It's got a bit of a learning curve, but you know, so does Python. Python has a learning curve when you want to get into things a bit more than just, you know, some basic 50 lines of code that runs through it, does stuff. Phone applications, yeah, I haven't really done that. I can only assume that there's a server somewhere that we should be able to get access to, but I've not really looked into mobile applications, to be honest. I can't really help there. Where do you check rating limits? Now they ask me to solve captures. That'll probably just go. That'll either go away by itself, or I don't know what it's like where you are in the world. But if you just reboot your router, you'll get a new IP, and you won't have that problem. They generally don't have. They don't shout out what they consider a rate limit, really. Honestly, I usually just push the envelope and see where we get to. Obviously, being kind to the server, and I don't like flood it because I don't want to make their life difficult. I don't want to put their website into like protect mode or anything like that because I still want to access it. But I've obviously had my IP banned plenty of times. Data engineering landscape. Yeah. I'm fascinated by that. Crazy fanatic, man. I really am. To the point of where I even started learning loads more SQL queries. Data engineering I thought would be a pretty cool career, like job path. It's something I really want to learn more about so I can then like talk about it a bit more, because at the moment I don't know an awful lot about it other than just moving data around, I guess. Do I moonlight? Technically, yeah. I suppose. I think, if I understand that right. What's quickest to do 100 requests? 100? They're probably all going to be within a second of each other. So concurrent futures is the easiest one to use. Threading is different. Async will be the fastest overall. Elias, thank you, man. I appreciate it. It's really kind. Any videos coming up that you use logging in? No, not really, because logging into things and then doing stuff is a bit more of a grey area because yeah, please do reach out. Logging, it's a bit more of a grey area because when you sign up to something to get your login, you're actually agreeing to their terms and conditions. Now, no one's going to try and like sue you or anything like that, unless of course you make a massive product using their stuff, and then of course it comes back to haunt you. So I tend to stay away from anything that requires a login. Do I use JS or TypeScript? I don't know. No, I don't, Alex. I don't know JavaScript really at all, or TypeScript. I have one video where I used Node and Cheerio, which I think Crazy Fanatic pointed out, because I wanted to experience what it was like. Because I do a lot of the stuff. I do everything in Python, and now I do a little bit of my personal stuff in Go because I like the language. So I wanted to know what it was like for people, because that I'd seen videos where people was doing like, "Oh, I'll do this web scraping," and it was all in Node, and I was like, "Well, I want to know what it's like." It was alright. Scrapy the best option now? Yeah, for all the reasons that I explained. If you just want to do something quick, anything is fine. If you want a proper solid reusable project, I think Scrapy is obviously the best way. I realise I'm a little bit slow now on the questions because there's, we've got 60 people watching, which is fantastic. So I really appreciate all of you guys for that. I'm just going to catch up. I'm just going to keep banging through these. 100 of the same server. Oh, requests. Async's always going to be quickest. Checking emails. Yeah, I could do. They all have an API which you can just use to pull. Those sorts of videos are interesting, but maybe less so interesting. Gregory, hello mate, thank you, appreciate that. Scrapy, and I solved their capture. All right, so you're inputting on the capture, are you? Do you want to try look up Selenium Stealth? Just remove some of the obvious telltales from the Selenium WebDriver. That might alleviate some of the captures. Cloudflare bypass, probably coming. Cloud Scraper, talked about it before. I'll take a slightly different approach in that video though. When does the web scraping take place? I don't know. I wasn't planning on doing any coding, gonna be honest. It's much easier for me to sit here and talk about it because then I don't have to actually prove to you that I can do it. Hello from Russia. Hello. Global reach. Global reach. Amazing. Can I explain for loops with a range? Yeah. So when you loop over it, you just loop over that range. 4x in range, 1 to 10. We'll go through 1 to 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I use it for pages sometimes, but I try and do that less and less now because it's quite brittle, which means it will break very quickly because it's not that. The best way is to pull the next page button or have a next page tail of some kind on that website. Puppeteer, yes. Node. I think I did have a video on that I was going to release, but I didn't release it for some reason. I can only think that I must have done some. I must have been wrong in it, obviously wrong. Either that or the video sucked, or I didn't finish it. I don't remember. Anyway, JavaScript. Puppeteer was good though. It was good. Have I used the undetected Chrome driver? I think that's what I just talked about. Selenium Stealth does that, and then there's the same for the other patches. It uses that thingamajiggers. Yeah. I'm the best on YouTube. Yeah, I am the best. Thank you. Appreciate that. I'm glad that, as I said before, I'm really glad that people will get stuff out of my content and enjoy it and learn. That's the most important thing, or at least do something with it. So yeah, cool. What's your end goal with this channel? I started the channel to keep myself accountable for learning and what I was doing. It originally started off as a blog, which was terrible because I hate writing. And then I enjoyed making videos. Some stuff caught on, some stuff didn't. Where am I going with it? I'm just seeing it as something that I do I learn about something, I make a video about it, I hope that people enjoy watching it. I get a bit of money from it. It keeps me motivated. I've learned a lot about other things. I'm just going to keep going and see where it goes. I do believe that YouTubers have something like a 5-year lifespan before they're completely, dumpstered by YouTube. So I reckon I've got 2 years left. In fact, I've got almost exactly 2 years left. We'll see what happens. A lot of things can happen, but I'm just going to keep making videos on Python, web, data, web scraping, APIs, all that stuff. And as long as you guys keep watching them, I keep making them. On your HTTPX project. Oh, did I? Except the store.txt file? Well, that's annoying. I'll have to dig through that and see if I can find it. My file storing on my local machine is terrible. Everything's called like project 1, 2, 3, 4. It's awful. In fact, it's so bad, I've just created a new folder where I'm just going to have to start fresh. I can't remember specifically what was supposed to be in that text file. I think it was just links. It was just links that we were using. So you could recreate that with the links that I showed. Bit of a pain, I know, but what's the cheapest residential proxy providers? Not entirely sure what the cheapest ones are. I'm currently sponsored by IP Royal. There's a link somewhere, or you can just go there. They're the ones that I'm using at the moment. They are sponsoring me. Is Upwork a good place to start making money web scraping? I don't like those websites. It's a race to the bottom, but sometimes that's okay, and sometimes it's a good way to get experience. I don't do it through Upwork, but a lot of my clients are started coming through this channel and then through word of mouth. So like people they knew or their business associates I don't have the magic answer to how to get clients, I'm afraid. I think I got lucky. And even then, I've had some that have not been great. I've had some that have been amazing. Some that have not been great. Do you sign... Oh, guitars. Yes. I've got 6 guitars. One's a bass, which is here, which you can't see. There's an acoustic. And I play never anymore. Not going to lie. I played a load of guitar when I was younger. I had my first guitar when I was 13. I went to music college, if you can believe that, to play guitar when I was younger. And then, just got a bit bored of it. I still listen to a lot of music though. Only one of my guitars is in tune, and that's the only one that I play, which is one of these ones behind me. That one. Ibanez RG Prestige. Honesty and transparency. Yeah, I know. It's funny because there's some... I'm not going to mention... Play something... Hell no. No one needs that. Maybe one day, but no. Guitars can be beautiful, functional art. Yeah, I've got one on the wall there, which probably has been in the background of one of my videos or something. The YouTuber thing, I will see it doesn't apply to everyone, but there's creators that I have followed before. Not going to mention names, that got salty because YouTube stopped pushing them. I'm like, mate, you made videos for 5 years. You had over 1 million subscribers and millions of views. Like, I don't know, what were you expecting? I live like this is going to go away in the next tomorrow. And if it goes away because something YouTube does, I'll be happy. Because I'll be like, well, I did my thing. And eventually YouTube decided it was a no now. I'd be upset if it gets taken away from me because of something that I did. So maybe if I said something stupid, but I can't see that happening. Or maybe, I don't know, that's the only way that's going to happen. So, yeah. Upwork can be brutal. 100%. Brutal. I've only ever had one client through Upwork. I did some work for them. Stuff. And they were fantastic. But not many others. Data engineering really could be anything the job spec says. One common denominator is working with big 3 cloud providers. That's interesting. Yeah, that's interesting to know, Jamira. Yeah. See, I want to learn more about. I'm really interested in. That sounds really dark. That sounds really lame. I'm really interested in moving data around. I'm interested in solving problems, and a lot of problems, common ones that you get are, you've got something somewhere, you need it moved to another place digitally, or you need to do something with it. And I like that about data. I guess that problem of how to overcome that is, I find interesting. What I'm not so interested in is the analytical side of the data. But I think I would be if I was good at it, but I'm not. I'm not good at data analytics. I could learn to be, but as soon as I look at it, data science is solving problems using data. Yeah. As soon as I look at it, I'm like, hey, I'm more interested about how they got the data and what to do it with and all this stuff. I did one of my old friends, he was a data scientist, and I would talk to him, and it was really interesting because, not interesting, it's boring, but I found it interesting that we had this really small crossover point of like, not the greatest example, but let's say I would talk to a point where I would get the data and I would do all this. We both use Python. And it's like, okay, now I've got it in a pandas data frame. And I'm like, cool. And then he would be like, okay, so he would just gloss over everything else until he had it into his pandas data frame. Then he would start talking about his, whatever it was, joins, all that stuff. And I'm like, you lost me now. That was a long time ago, though. Thanks, Fabio. That's really kind of you, man. Yeah. If people keep watching my videos and YouTube keeps saying to people, here, do you want to watch this video? And people like it, I'm going to keep making them. That's essentially it. It'll go away one day, and that's just the way that it is. What future videos are coming up? More APIs. I'm making one with Flask RESTful, which I find interesting, and the videos that are on YouTube about that at the moment, no offense to those creators, are just reading through the documentation and typing things, which is boring. Do I freelance? A little bit, yeah. Other future videos, JSON serialization with Marshmallow, because I think that's quite an overlooked part. Cloud computing, SQL building, ETL pipelines. Yeah. I think I just kind of touched on that. Yeah. I think I totally agree with you. Crazy Fanatic, man. I think that's kind of how that's kind of how I feel. Although I guess my experience is not, I don't have a whole load of experience in that. So maybe if I was given the opportunity to do a load of other data stuff, I'm not saying that I wouldn't pick it up and enjoy it. But I think we kind of feel the same way about that. They require option requests. Do you mean like using an API in options where it returns a load of resources that you use? No, I don't have anything. I don't have any videos like that though, actually. But interested to hear what you mean exactly, Eduardo. Lance needs to stay locked up. Yes, API with options. I haven't got any videos about it, but I do use one of the APIs that I use regularly has the options thing, and I just use it to return me back a load of URI resources where the data is. I don't do anything other than just ask for that information and then go and visit the other places it tells me to go. I don't do anything more specific than that. But that's all like an actual API that I have access to with a key or token or whatever. Yeah. Can I be hired for a quick job? Possibly. I got a lot of stuff going on at the moment. I'm still trying to learn a lot of stuff as well, which is I find really key. Do you know, I find, no worries, man. I'll try and help out where I can. I always find that I really want to be learning stuff all the time, and if I don't, it's like that satisfaction, kind of like of that click where you go, oh, that's how that works. And once you get to a point where you get that enough, it just becomes like a staple of like, and then you can put all those things together and make something. Because the end goal is to be able to think of a project and go, right, okay, yeah, I want to do this now. Which I can do, but it's all these different moving parts. Hey Alec, nice for you to drop in. Do you have any videos on handling API pagination? Do you know what? I don't. Although on my list of long list of video ideas that rated from terrible 10 out of 10s to maybe, pagination is on there. I just want to try and make it as interesting as possible. Like, not many people want to watch me just go, and then you type this and it gives you this. It's not that interesting. Studying is painful, learning is beautiful. I hate studying, which is not surprising. But yeah, I agree. when something clicks and you go, oh yeah, that's how that works. Brilliant. Yeah. Yep, it's all good. What time is it? Oh wow, you watched those, did you? I don't, I'm afraid. No, I was just contracted to do them. I really thought no one would ever see those. Or like, as in the crossover. Yeah, no, they were great to work for. They were great to work for. Cool. Well, that's about an hour. YouTube recommended it one day. Sometimes I get... Do you know what I do, right? Is I start learning one thing and I move on to another thing before I'm finished. And then I just end up with this base knowledge, like partial stuff, and I can't actually do anything with it. So you could say... I can't think of a good example, but you go like, oh, what about this? And I go, oh, yeah, you need this, this, and this. And then they go, okay, show me. And I ain't got a clue. I just know the words because I've looked at it before. Where are you based? Near London, England. Yeah. Right, I'm gonna do one. This has been a fun hour. End of the stream is always prompt time where I promise that there's going to be a schedule. Every time there will be a schedule coming up at some point. Probably. I don't know. There'll be a Discord at some point. Probably. I don't know. But thank you very much to everyone who dropped by. I really enjoyed it. I hope you got some good information. I enjoyed chatting. So that's something. That's good, isn't it? And I shall be back. What day is it? Tuesday? I'll be back on this week. I can't really tell you when because, I've got other stuff to do. I really enjoyed it. Thank you very much, everyone, for dropping by, and I will see you all again soon. Bye.